Captain Marvel 2 just got a whole lot more interesting. Black Widow's fate on Disney Plus will soon be determined. And DC FanDome's guest list, well, let's just say you're going to want to drink a cup of coffee. What's up, Comic Book Nation? BD here to congratulate you on making it through another 5 days of Chris Killian videos, only to get to the weekend headliner, the second printing of the week's biggest issues at Comicbook.com. This week's news has emotions running high, so I'm about to add my opinion to some of the biggest stories, which will certainly lead to an interesting time down in the comments section. Be nice. First up, Captain Marvel got a new director for her sequel in the form of Nia DaCosta, who you may know from her work on Little Woods and has Candyman still on the way. This is great news because looking back at the first Captain Marvel movie, the directors really did very little to give it much style or innovation. Love or hate the movie as a whole, there is no denying that Brie Larson's character had more style in just a few moments for Avengers Endgame under the direction of the Russo brothers than she did under the direction of Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. So I'm actually way more excited for Captain Marvel 2 than I was before with DaCosta running things now. Did Chris Killian and I just agree on something? Let's not talk about that.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
While on the topic of Disney-owned properties, how about the fact that Mulan is going straight to Disney Plus, but you also have to pay $29.99 to watch it on top of your subscription. I personally don't have much interest in paying that for Mulan, but if it were a title like Black Widow, I definitely would. I'd even pay for New Mutants right now just to get a new comic book movie in my living room. But all you people with kids, all the suckers for Disney nostalgia, a lot of people are about to open up the purse, and we're gonna have to keep an eye on this because if it is a huge success, you have to imagine Black Widow is going to consider dropping on Disney Plus again, right?
This would be the moment that BD would make a joke about Disney dropping Black Widow next.
And I say again because if you skip 2/3 of the way through Endgame, she drops on Disney Plus. I couldn't help myself. Disney CEO Bob Chapek says Mulan is a one-off strategy, but we'll see how one-off it is based on how much Mulan rakes in.
All right, people, gonna come around and collect your wallets. You don't f***ing talk. Just throw them in a bag. Are we clear?
DC is coming in hot for DC FanDome. A not so little list of guests dropped into my inbox on Thursday, and I refuse to make my editor go through 300 plus photos to feature all these celebrities in this video. So I'm gonna go through some of the biggest ones and my favorites. Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, The Batman, Robert Pattinson, the whole cast of The Suicide Squad, which is a movie that got a new logo this week to celebrate James Gunn's birthday. I do find it interesting that people like Aquaman, Jason Momoa, Superman actor Henry Cavill, and Cyborg actor Ray Fisher are not listed as guests. Then there's things like Michael Keaton not being listed, which I expect to be some kind of surprise about him returning as Batman during one of the panels or something. Maybe even Ryan Reynolds or others will be there. There was that whole tweet exchange between Reynolds and The Rock this week about Reynolds playing Hawkman and Black Adam. By the way, speaking of The Rock, he literally bought the XFL this week because 2020 just isn't wild enough. Now Spencer Strasmore is a real person. I talked to Wonder Woman 1984 costume designer Lindy Hemming this week, who, by the way, is an absolute legend. She also designed Heath Ledger's Joker, Christian Bale's Batman, Angelina Jolie's Lara Croft, and a whole lot more epic character get-ups you'd be familiar with. She opened up about a lot of things from Wonder Woman 1984, but my favorite part was finding out this awesome intel about the golden armor.
In the comic books, it does have a very featured eagle. I mean, it obviously comes from the eagle, the American eagle, I suppose, probably as well, inspired originally. And, but I mean, I suppose you know that it's the most powerful protection armor that was worn by her mother originally. And somehow or other, in the story, which I don't want to sort of give away, it ends up being with her in Washington. And so when she's really threatened by everything, she resorts to wearing the golden armor. And that was a fabulous challenge to design it.
Ryan Reynolds shared his alternate cut of Green Lantern in the vein of the whole Snyder Cut thing, and somehow this short clip of the movie you're seeing right now, which features Tom Cruise as Green Lantern, ended up being better than the movie itself. If I'm being honest, I couldn't say that. I don't know. I've never seen Green Lantern, but I don't plan on it because I read your comments and I know it sucks. And finally, I got my hands on Marvel's Avengers beta last week, and I'm happy to say it's actually pretty fun. If it wasn't an Avengers game, I probably wouldn't care that much for it, but it is, so I do. My favorite character to play as is definitely the Hulk, but Kamala Khan puts in a bid for that as well. All things considered, the graphics are literally not at all impressive, but the gameplay is fun, enough so if you're a Marvel fan. You probably won't regret getting your hands on it when it does come out, but you'll probably want to buy the PlayStation version because they're getting Spider-Man exclusively and Xbox is just sitting that part out. So the console wars, go ahead.
The entire world seems to be asking the same question. Where is Spider-Man?
Too bad about that spider guy.
On the comics front, Marvel's Ghost Rider series was canceled. Empire revealed a surprise wedding between a couple of Avengers, which we got the exclusive preview for, and DC allowed Plastic Man to literally go on an absolute zombie murder spree in DC's #2. That series has no limits. You're probably reading it because it's fun. That's your second printing of the week's biggest issues at Comicbook.com. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at BrandonDavisPD, because I need to build an army for the coming war against Chris Killian and the Daily Distraction. Tell a friend they're pretty in the comment section and head over to Comicbook.com for more. I'm BD. I'll see you there.